Hey, what's up, my health practitioners? Welcome to another video. I am Dr. LeGrand, and I'm super excited about today's video because we're going to talk about speaking gigs, doing public speaking, of how to get more patients, more clients, and the best way to do it. I'm going to share my tips that I've learned that this is the best strategy that I've seen. Because do you find it frustrating when you plan, you prep, you do everything you can to make this speaking gig the best you possibly can, you present really well, and then you get no patients out of it? That can be so frustrating because it already takes a ton of work just to get these speaking gigs all together. And then if you don't get any patients out of it, it's like, wow, that was a waste of time. So I'm going to share my tips of how you can actually make sure that's not a waste of time and get the patients and clientele that you should get for the hard work that you put into it. So without further ado, let's get started. So before we get started, I want to introduce myself. I'm Dr. LeGrand. I'm a naturopathic physician out here in Washington, have been owning a practice for about 2.5 years now, and have seen exponential growth even for just being 2.5 years out. I'm not claiming to be an expert, but I want to share my experience because there's not a lot of content out there for health practitioners of growing a business, not at least free content. So I want to offer this free content to just give you and build this community. So if you are new here and want to know more about growing a business as a health practitioner, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and also give us a like if you like this video, as well as hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any other future videos. Okay, so I'm going to talk about 6 steps as far as how to turn your speaking gigs to success, of getting patients and clients. Depending on what kind of health practitioner you are, this is what you need to do so that your efforts of actually putting all the time to actually make this speaking gig, I know because I've done several of them, they take a lot of time, so that you can actually have patients from actually doing this speaking gig or clients. So the first step is how to actually advertise for your speaking gig. If no one comes, well, you're going to have a hard time getting patients. So you need to know how to advertise it properly, what works best. And these are the strategies that have worked for me so far. Again, anybody can leave in the comment section below because this is a community collaboration as far as what has worked for you to actually advertise for your speaking gig. So I'm sure there's different variances of this, but I like using Eventbrite. I'll leave that in the comment section below if you have never seen Eventbrite. That's a way, it's actually a free type of way you can actually set up an event that you can actually advertise. As long as it's free, they will host and collect the emails and actually even set up where you can do reminders. So Eventbrite is a great way to actually do your speaking gig, is setting it up and help advertise it. So once you have set it up on Eventbrite, you can actually put it on Facebook and advertise it on Facebook. You can boost the advertised event. I highly recommend that, to actually boost it, to get more eyeballs to see it, to actually click and get a ticket. The reason also I like Eventbrite is that you can get virtual tickets. Now, even though they're free, people have to RSVP. That's why I like Eventbrite, is that it actually has some kind of commitment to it. You can even charge a little bit if you feel like you need to do that. I haven't done that. I still just do it for free, these free gigs, because ultimately I'm trying to get patients with doing these public speaking gigs. Because the problem is, if you don't do an RSVP, that I have seen in the past, that I've done it, is not very many people show up, or even hardly even anybody, because there was no reminders. That's why you need to do RSVP, so you can actually shoot out reminders. Once you have done that, if you have MailChimp or another email software system or email CRM system, you can actually set it up with Eventbrite, where it actually collects the emails for you, so you can use it to actually remind people of the event once they have actually got an RSVP ticket. Other ways you can advertise: if you already have an email list system, definitely shoot that email out to people, and that can actually be helpful. Or even I've used, some chiropractors in the local area and asked them if they would actually shoot out to their email, and they've done that. So those are things you can also do, is ask other health practitioners that might think that their patients might be interested in what you're talking about, and they can help. Now, the last thing, I don't find this in this day and age works as well. It still can be beneficial, but I do want to address it, is, doing flyers. So making a nice flyer, but stick with like a 2 to 5 mile radius. I wouldn't go any further than that. Go to your super supplement stores, any kind of supplement stores, yoga studios, salons, even just other health practitioners, practices, to maybe advertise it for you, or even the public library, you can also advertise it there. So those are free ways where you can actually do that. Again, I feel like it doesn't work as well, but I have gotten some people from it. It just doesn't work as well as now the social media does. Okay, so now you've advertised it, you're excited, now people have signed up, they've RSVP'd, you're seeing all these people. Now, how do you actually get people to come to your event? Because it doesn't end there. Trust me, if you just let it just sit there and expect everyone's going to show up who is RSVP'd, you're wrong. It doesn't happen. People are busy. And so this is the second way that I see the second step you need to implement to actually get people to attend to that hard work that you've put in for that speaking gig. So remember I talked about Eventbrite, how it collects those emails? Well, you need to take that to your advantage, either using MailChimp or your other email automated system and actually send out reminders. I usually will send a reminder about 3 days before, 1 day before, and then 1 hour before. It might be excessive, but we all live busy lives. I know if I don't get that enough reminders, I usually will forget. But trust me, if you do that, you will actually get a better attendance if you send out those reminders. The other way that I actually remind people is if you're doing Facebook Live consistently every week, I usually at the end of the Facebook Live, I'll remind people, hey, remember we got this event coming up this Thursday or wherever it might be. That will help kind of help people remember, oh yeah, there's that speaking gig going on. Make sure to remember to do that. The other thing is also using your Facebook fan page. You can actually send out another Facebook post reminding of the event, as well as doing ads to remind people, using Facebook ads to actually remind people about the event. Okay, so now you got people coming. Great. People are showing up the presentation. Well, it doesn't end there because you need to know how you're going to present. I'm sure, you got great material, but you need to understand it is a selling tactic that you need to do. I know people in my industry don't like to feel like they're salesmen, but trust me, there's ways of actually doing it where it doesn't seem too salesy, but you need through the process of your presentation still be selling. Otherwise, people just think, oh, great, it's a free speaking gig. Help them understand that, yes, there's something towards the end that they should be expecting versus they get surprised at the end, like, oh, yeah, by the way, you should all schedule for a new patient appointment or set up for a consult. No, you need to kind of ease them into it. So with this third step, how you actually do give a good presentation is first you need to address the pains, the problems, the fears that they might have, building up that emotion. This is all about building up emotion during the presentation. You need to bring to the top of the awareness, oh yeah, I remember having those pains, those fears, those problems. This is why I'm here. You got to bring that to the surface. And as you've addressed that, using a couple slides to kind of address that, then you give, what their desires are. If you have this problem, whether it's like, you're dealing with fatigue, okay, you not be able to function throughout the day, not be able to live how you want to, creating some of those kind of fears that people might have or problems, and then the desire, but you want to live great. You want to be back how you feel like you're in your 20s, something like that, something to give them that desire, that build up. And then, talk about the things as far as the benefits from actually being like that and the solutions, giving them a solution, giving them the benefits, as well as the successes that they can do if they do certain things. So be able to understand, okay, if you do this, these are the benefits, these are the successes that you can have in your life. The other things that you need to do is share a story, maybe a patient. Obviously, you don't want to give out too much information, but make it more vague as far as, certain patient stories, successes that they've had, so they see, oh, this does work, and then talking about the steps that they need to take to be able to actually get those same types of benefits that person did from that story. But once you've done that, you also need to, towards the end, tell them what actions that they need to take as far as to make it to the next step. So it might be offering a free consult, or some kind of discount of some sort, be able to take action of some kind. So step number 4 is, great. You did give a great presentation. You feel pumped, like great. People were excited. People were asking questions, and you feel like, all right, I'm going to get patients. All right, this is it. Well, if you don't do anything else, you just might not. You might get a few, but you might not. That doesn't end there. Trust me, I've done this before too and haven't had as much success when you do it in this manner of the presentation and just leave it at that. So I should have mentioned this before, but you should make a handout for every attendee. And it can be very simple. Mine are very simple. They're usually 3 pages. It might have a front page of the layout of what you're going to be discussing about, an agenda, and then maybe another page for them to take notes. And then the back page, so this is what I call as the back page strategy. I got this from my business coach. I want to take credit. In fact, a lot of these ideas, as far as what I'm talking about today, I got from my business coach. And I'm really grateful for him. If you ever want to look him up, his name is Colm Kelly. He actually works with specifically naturopathic doctors. So if you're a naturopathic doctor, Colm Kelly he really does help people grow their business if you are a naturopathic doctor. But this is what he calls as the back page strategy. And this works every time. And what it is basically on that back page before you end the presentation. So I usually, when I finish my presentation, before I do the Q&A, answer questions, I'll be like, okay, I'm going to take a couple minute break, get some water. But in the meantime, before I answer questions, do our Q&A part, if you go on the back of the page, look at it, fill it out, and usually in that back page is going to be, what they are coming in for, like maybe interest, I am dealing with anxiety or hormones. You give like a checkbox. And then of course, yes. And then you tell them, we're offering for all presenters today, a free, 15-minute or 20-minute consultation, however long you want to do it. And you tell the value, that's probably about $125 value, but for attendees tonight, they get it for free. And then you have other sections you put, where people can put yes. And then you say, well, if you're not interested, please do put your reasons why. So that way everybody is still writing. So people don't feel like, oh, I'm the only one writing who wants to actually get a consult, so that everybody does write something down. And then you tell them, at the end of the presentation, please leave those handouts with me when you're done. Okay, great. So now you have people filling out the back page, you answer some great Q&A, and then you're done. No, you're not done there. In fact, if you just do it that way, even still, people might have the best intentions. It's hard to reach people. The best thing you can do is if you can have either your receptionist at that event, somebody else who can actually schedule the event that day. That is the best way of doing it, how I've seen it, to be able to get patients. Because even if they give you that back sheet, sure, you have their information, because you want to make sure it has the phone number, email, and stuff like that to contact them. But even trying to get a hold of them can be difficult. But if you can get them scheduled that day, because they're already pumped. Remember, you gave them the pains, the fears, and also the desires, the solution to their problem that you gave them during the presentation. So they're already really hyped. You need to ride on that hype to schedule them. So you have a receptionist while you're doing Q&A after the presentation. So obviously you'll do Q&A live as a presentation, and then you say, okay, if you guys have any further questions, you can come up and talk to me. But in the meantime, we have our receptionist back here who can actually schedule your free consult right now. I highly encourage it, and make sure to leave the back page with her. So why people are coming up, because you're going to be busy answering other questions, because I guarantee people are going to have further questions after the presentation. But in the meantime, your receptionist can be scheduling somebody. So that's what you need to be doing. So the other thing is, if you have had people who did not schedule because they need to look at their schedule and, they said, just contact me later, you still have their back page. I would say wait about 2 days and then contact them. But don't just call them once and call it good. You need to leave a message. You need to call them a couple times. You also have their email, so shoot also email after you've called them. Do it a couple times, and then by that time, put them in a different email automation system, because they were interested at some point, and have an automation system where you send out, every once in a while, maybe in your newsletter or something like that. Now, the fifth step, great. You've scheduled them. You got all these people who have just set up for the free consults, and you're all excited. Well, it doesn't end there either. Guess what? You do also need to get them to attend the consultation, because it is free. People don't value it as much, but you need to build that value during the presentation. That's why the presentation is so important, so they will attend. So back to that, make sure you're building that value of, telling them, yeah, it's $125 value, and also telling them what they get out of that consult. So I forgot to mention that before, but what you should be telling them what they get in that consult is to tell them, crystal clear on their health plan, what they can do, what problems that we could discuss about that they've been dealing with, as well as, now this isn't actual patient visit. You shouldn't treat it as a patient visit. It's a consult for them to come in and talk about, the issues that they have, and then what solutions that you can actually resolve with them. So step number 6 is, how to actually turn the consult into an actual patient visit, so they become your patient. So, you're all excited. It's like, great, they're here. Well, it doesn't end there, because the consult is very important, as far as selling. This is an actual why people do consults is a way to actually kind of have people understand what you do and why they would actually want you as their doctor or their healthcare coach or wellness coach or whatever you do, why they would choose you over anybody else. So when they come in, you want to ask them their specific individual health concerns, why they're coming in, have them lay it out. You don't need to ask, huge history. It's just about getting pointers, I might have a headache, fatigue, all these kind of things. You get a list of that and you're writing them down, jotting them down, but also asking what they've done in the past as well, what other doctors that they've seen and why they would maybe want to come see you. And as they're telling you this, you need to address about the presentation, the pains, the fears, reminding them to get that emotion back up, right? So they kind of like, yeah, that's right. I remember you talking about that in that presentation, so they kind of feel on the same page like they did that same day. Because it's been a couple days. It might have been a week. It might have been 2 weeks. Who knows how long that's been. They've kind of forgotten a little bit. So you need to remind them like you did in the presentation. Once you've done that, then you offer your solution, the different treatment options, giving them, this is what we can do. And, if you feel like, this can be a benefit. The other thing that you should do, this is where the awkward moment happens, right? Is asking them if they want to schedule. I wouldn't even really ask. You just make the assumption they already want to schedule. So what I typically do after I've talked about all their problems, all the issues that they've had, as well as the solutions that we can provide, be like, we can do this and this and this and this, right? And I feel like this can really benefit you. I think this would be a really good fit for you. And then, I have an opening next week. You just assume that they're going to schedule, right? Now, depending on if you do cash practice or if you just do insurance-based, if you do cash practice, they're going to want to know what the price is. So I usually do tell them what the price is. And then you still assume that they still want to schedule. It should be like, we have an opening next week. Does Thursday work for you? And they'll tell you yes or no. They'll stop you. Be like, actually, hold on. I want to maybe talk to my husband or my wife or my partner, whatever it might be that they might want to talk to or think about it for a minute. That's fine. But if you do the assumption that they want to schedule already, it's an easy way to ease into just schedule them and get them as a patient. So now you're all done. Okay, I know this was a very long video, but these have been used by me and lots of other people I know have used this strategy, and it really does work to get new patients. It's a lot of work, but it's a good way to get new patients. If you want me to elaborate on any of those steps, because I know I had to rush through them pretty quickly, go ahead and leave that in the comment section below. I'll make sure to make a video on that. And if you have any further questions about this video, go also leave that in the comment section below. So guys, thank you for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. Hope I brought value to you guys. And if you are new here, hit that subscribe button right here so you can see the next videos that we're going to be producing on these types of topics. And if you haven't watched our other videos, I talk about my number way of getting patients. You can click on that video over here, as well as how to get patients through Facebook. You can check that video right here. So until next time, this is Dr. LeGrand signing out. Thanks. Bye.